We never know where life will lead us or what may hinder us along the way. But while every day can feel like one big question mark, it doesn't have to. With the right insights, strategies, and solutions from Western and Southern Financial Group, together we can look ahead to leave the unknown behind.
Welcome in to Tailgate. Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner. No Mike Quinn in the studio today. We got our backup, Stone Rochelle, Cali guy, just like me. Love having him in studio. He's here in Cincinnati. Where I'd want to start with this, as you open up your water bottle.
Probably a little late for that.
What is your problem? Can you figure it out?
I didn't drink.
Make sure you are following the Tailgate Twitter account. Follow the Tailgate Twitter account, PFF_Tailgate. You can leave DMs in there. We'll get back to those. You can also let us know if you want to leave a mailbag question, a trivia question for our Thursday episode. It's always a good thing to do there. You can also do that on Apple Podcasts when you leave a review. And then this week, no interviews on today's podcast, but I got some treats. Kyra Elam, Florida cornerback, Chad Muma from Wyoming, the linebacker, Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner, if you will, from Cincinnati, and then Kingsley and Agbury from South Carolina, all joining the show this week. Should be a lot of fun. I got something.
That's like first rounders in there. That's what, three probably? Three likely first rounders? We haven't locked any of them yet, but some might be.
Did I tell you about the Monday episode?
You have not yet.
Sam Howell joins the show on Monday. First big name quarterback coming on the show for Tailgate. You better tune in for the Monday episode. But big shout out to producer David Sofaro for landing these interviews for Tailgate. We've got some dudes coming on the show. Some absolute dudes. All right, enough about that. Let's go ahead and get into the NFL review. Starting with Thursday Night Football. Bucs at Eagles. Eagles favored by 6.5. I put next month's rent on Bucs minus 6.5. Or no, it got out to 7. And I put next month's rent on Bucs minus 7. Eagles go for 2 late. The backdoor cover of the century.
It really was.
Buccaneers still win 28-22, but I lose the bet. I'm upset at the go for 2, but even though it was obviously the right decision, whatever. But a brutal backdoor cover, and what was, in my opinion, a Buccaneers dominant win. Like they controlled the game the entire way.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a one-score game. It didn't even feel like a game where the coverage never really felt in play, and then you're like, holy shit, they're about to do this.
Exactly.
So yeah,
the 2-point conversion, I was literally in a little sweat.
It was the Eagles' offense. As much as we say, hey, we love passing the ball in early downs. We are for that. We are a pro-passing company, as it is. When you have a Jalen Hurts, when you have a dynamic rushing threat, when you have a guy who can be a value add, and you have an offensive line like they have, and yes, obviously Lane Johnson's been out. He's not going to be back this week after taking his mental health break. When you have an offensive line like that, at least try. At least attempt to, because that's obviously what brought them back in the second half, was finally getting the running game going, the ability to just get Jalen Hurts in that option runs behind that offensive line. You have the potential for, this is probably not a great comp, but like Ravens-esque success in that you can be this team that dominates the ground week in and week out, that knows that is going to be something you can rely upon. Whereas Jalen Hurts' arm, I don't care how much you're passing in favorable passing situations, you cannot rely on him to be a successful passer week in and week out. You saw in this game, 12 of 26, 115 yards passing through the air. That is, that's just who he is at this point. He's not the guy who is going to consistently push the ball down the football field into tight windows. That's just not him. So you have to find another way to move the ball offensively.
At that point, too, when you are throwing on early downs, I think you have the note here, 66% on early downs, highest in the NFL. That's great, and I know PFF always advocates for throwing the football a ton, but if you're not pushing the ball downfield, what's the point? He has the second lowest average depth of target in the NFL, and from a clean pocket, which I love looking at average depth of target from a clean pocket, because those are those pockets where you need to take advantage of the defense. 5.8 average depth of target, second lowest in the NFL. That is... You might as well be running the ball. As I said, you might as well be running the ball if you're going to be that conservative when you do make the decision to throw. So a lot of concerns there with Philadelphia. And I don't think necessarily that need to turn Jalen Hurts into what he isn't, by forcing him to push the ball downfield, forcing him to throw it into tight windows. I just think you do need to make that shift in potentially running the football more, and especially involving him in the running game. He should be getting 10, 15 carries a game with what he is as a runner compared to other quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, going against Tampa Bay, wasn't super surprised knowing that Tampa Bay defense is allowing 0.6 yards before contact per attempt. Like, it's a fierce defense. But at a certain point, it is one of the only ways you're probably going to end up putting points against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay has a great mix of the run defense, at least, where, like, you think of those old Jets defensive lines that had Muhammad Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson, where it's like you really can't run the ball between the tackles. You can't, like, do straightforward downhill runs. You're not going to have success in that. So a lot of teams would approach them, teams like that, and then pitch it wide. Wide runs, pitches, outside zone, that sort of thing. Try to attack the edges of the defense. Well, they got a linebacker that runs a 4.4 and a linebacker that runs a mid-4.5s. They got two of the most athletic linebackers in the league. So it's really no real way to attack them on the ground. So I don't necessarily blame teams for eschewing the running game against the Bucs, but the Eagles, of all people, should still be able to have some success.
There was a comment, I think, during this broadcast about Jalen Hurts' ability to be this franchise quarterback for them. I think one of the bigger offseason questions for Philadelphia, with all the first-round capital they have, they could potentially have 3 top 10 picks or whatever it is. Do they punt on this quarterback class because it's not as good as previous years? People are still figuring out who QB1 is. Is it Matt Corral? Is it still the backup at Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler? Yeah. Or do they invest in one of these first-round guys? Do they bring in a Malik Willis, whoever it may be? Where are you at right now? 72.1 PFF grade for Hurts from a clean pocket so far this year. 20th in the NFL. Where are you at right now? Obviously, a lot can change.
Well, I guess there's 2 big things to play here. One is that you have the rest of the season to evaluate Hurts. Obviously, I'm of the opinion from just, the NFL was kind of the opinion having him go in the second round where he did, that he was not a franchise type of guy, and there's nothing really been on tape consistently over the course of his career to have changed my mind on that. But you have you have the rest of the season to make that evaluation. I wouldn't go benching him or doing anything to try to hurt his development.
That would be horrendous.
Yeah, exactly. Like he is, you have to evaluate him as the potential to be that guy for you. But at the same time, you have enough draft capital where, like, it doesn't hurt to take one swing next year. You're going to have 3, like I said, right now it's top 10 picks, and probably worse, 3 top 20 picks. And so 3 top 20 picks, one of those, like, if you throw away one of those to try out a quarterback position, why not? It's like, I think you very much should. But then there's the flip side of the coin where we've talked about a lot with this team. You have an aging, expensive roster. The guys who are impact players from that Super Bowl run in 2017, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson, all those guys, Brandon Brooks, on the wrong side of 30, not getting any better, hurt now, some of them. Like there are big issues with this roster in terms of impact players on rookie contracts that you need to build youth as well. So you kind of want both. So they did do a good job, however, putting themselves in that position with those 3 first-rounders next year, likely first-rounders, depending on if the Colts end up just benching Wentz at some point to try to save face for that first-rounder. But
doubt that happens.
I doubt they do too. But they did a very good job putting themselves in that position to make that sort of rebuild.
I'm excited to see. I think they're going to be one of the better, off-season follows. What they do in free agency, how they approach the draft. I think they're going to be one of the teams that's talked about the most, especially with how this, this season turns out with Jalen Hurts and this quarterback class, etc. Who decides to come back to school? I think we had that conversation about Rattler recently as well. On to London. We're not doing the accents again this week. We can't do it. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Calling mine an accent was very generous of you. Thank you.
It's true. Jacksonville Jaguars are 1-0 on foreign soil. I hope you know that.
Trevor Lawrence hasn't lost a game, not in the USA.
I like it. Jaguars win this one 23-20. They were actually 3.5-point dogs in London. And Tua Tagovailoa started this game and played well.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, though, maybe outperformed him. He looked really good in this game. I think you continue to see the issues with the supporting cast and why they're 3.5-point dogs to the Dolphins in London. But I do think, time and time again, Trevor Lawrence, if you look on a throw-by-throw basis, maybe isn't the highest-graded rookie quarterback. Mac Jones maybe has outperformed him there. But he has put up the most highlight-level throws, the most high-end throws of any rookie quarterback this year.
Yeah, this was a game. This was probably the first time for Lawrence all season where I was like, he didn't have a rookie sort of mistake on tape. There were only like a handful of plays that were even like, you would say, quote-unquote bad, like misses. Mm-hmm. You had that like 3rd down before in the 2-minute drill before the half that they ended up actually converting on 4th down. And then he had the 3rd down towards the end of the game. I think it was in the 4th quarter where he's rolling to his right and he just overthrew. But that was a difficult throw. Like there weren't a lot of plays on his tape where it's like yikes, that was bad. So this was the first game where it was like, even when he was missing, it wasn't necessarily like it was in the safe spot, that sort of thing. So job well done from him. Other side of the ball, though, Miami, this offensive line is so bad. Such an issue. And we said it going in. And like I said, Tua was good, but it was an untenable situation. Again, his average time to throw in this game was 2.46 seconds. If compared to quarterbacks in the NFL, that would be fourth fastest in the NFL for an entire season. Yet he was still pressured on almost 40% of his dropbacks, which is 7 percentage points above average for the NFL. So being one of the quickest time to throws and being pressured that much, like their offensive line, and that's against the Jaguars. Like they let Josh Allen have a field day
career game
in that game. Exactly. Like it was pretty ridiculous. He's just in a situation where it's just not good. It's
we've
not
said
a great
I think
situation to develop. And like I said, he looked fine, but it is that offensive line still.
That term we've used for Miami's offensive line, I think others as well, it's just like losing football. Like you can't win football games consistently with the state of this offensive line. Josh Allen, the former first-round pick out of Kentucky, had a career game, 90-plus PFF grade in this one, going against a rookie and Liam Eichenberg for most of the game, and it was not even close. It was a complete mismatch pretty much at every position along that Dolphins offensive line, and you're not going to get anything going on the run game. You're not going to get anything going through the air. All of it's going to have to be really quick. And so much has to be on the back of Tua Tagovailoa. And it was, while he did play a good game, it wasn't enough, obviously, to beat what were the winless Jaguars in London. Some concern there.
Also, I probably should have gone back and watched the press conference after, but what the hell was Miami doing on that last play of the game? That was one of the worst decisions I've seen. You have, 5 seconds on the clock. Any play that goes farther than 5 yards down the football field is going to take longer than 5 seconds. They have a timeout, so you don't need to necessarily, scrunch everything in and guard the sidelines really tight. But you do need to guard against any quick throw, because anything longer than, like I said, exactly what they did, which was a tight slant, 5 yards, 6 yards, get them into field goal range. Anything longer than that, the clock is over.
Yeah.
So they are playing guys 8 yards off the ball and just allow that. That was malpractice from a defensive coordinator standpoint. I couldn't believe that with Brian Flores, how well coached his defenses have been and how prepared usually they are week in and week out. That was just a boneheaded call.
Damn. You hate to see it. Before we get to Packers-Bears, I wanted to let you know you can save 25% off any PFF subscription using promo code TAILGATE. Promo code TAILGATE. Support the podcast if you like Mike and myself and this pod. Make sure you go to PFF.com. If you're not already a subscriber, you can use promo code TAILGATE for 25% off any PFF subscription. That's every locked article. That's all of the college and betting dashboards. That's the draft guide when it comes out, the player grades, player props tool, all that stuff. Anything you want at PFF.com. Go subscribe. Promo code TAILGATE. Bears, Packers. I think we both picked the Bears to cover plus 4.5 at home. They don't. Packers win 24-14. Aaron Rodgers, that was probably my favorite moment in Aaron Rodgers' career. When he does the belt, after getting pushed arguably late, does the belt on the sideline, screams into the fans in Chicago. And so everyone quote tweeted or quoted, "I own you, I still own you." Right before that, he says, "I've owned you my whole fucking life." And it is the best. That is the best thing I've ever seen. And it was so... it was involuntary for Rodgers. This was not planned. He just was like, "I own you." It just came out so quick. It was like pure passion. And you go back to that Aaron Rodgers quote, how do you not get romantic about football? That is how you get romantic every single week. That was incredible. A really good performance from Rodgers, and honestly, the quote of the year.
It was like a wrestler grabbing the mic after a match is what it was. And he does. He straight up does own the Bears over the past decade, where they've lost 3 times. It's been nothing short of that. And that was you don't mock the belt is the thing. Robert Quinn, sack early in the game, mocks the belt. You got to know. There's a long history of guys mocking the belt and getting demolished by Aaron Rodgers. Stephen Tulloch literally had the instant karma when he mocked the belt in the celebration and tore his ACL on that celebration. You have to know by this time that if you're going to do it, Aaron Rodgers is going to get the best of you. And, he did in that game.
That was incredible, man. One of the highlights of the weekend for sure. I went back and watched all of Justin Fields' throws, and I thought he did not play poorly. It wasn't a highly graded game. There were those deep interceptions. I think he was trying to give his guy a chance, but both times, and I don't think one of them was charted as an interception, but they were definitely turnover-worthy plays.
The one he thought was offsides, and I don't blame him for that. So that was Aaron Rodgers in this championship game against the Seahawks in 2014. He throws that pitch to Richard Sherman because he thought he had a free play. And when you think you have caught a guy offsides and have a free play, you can't really go looking for the flag. Like the center snaps it, you trust the center, and then you throw it up that deep ball. And that's kind of what he did. Obviously, his receivers weren't on the same page, and then it ends up just being an easy pick for Darnell Savage. But I can't really blame him for that one. The other one, though, was pretty bad.
I mean, those brought down his grade significantly, but when you go back and watch, specifically early in that game, he had that sideline shot to Allen Robinson. He had another really good throw to Darnell Mooney. I thought he used his legs well. This was not a discouraging start for Fields, in my opinion. I thought it was encouraging. I think he continues to show a lot of what we saw at Ohio State. A very accurate thrower of the football that can win with his legs when he needs to. I still think you brought up rookie decisions with Trevor. There is still some rookie decisions with Justin Fields. Not so much, because you talk about some of the concerning quarterbacks in the NFL right now. The ones I have the most concern with, and I think you'd agree with this, are the ones that are inaccurate as hell. Like, those are tough. It's tough to grow beyond that, and tough to build an offense around that if you're not an elite runner like Lamar Jackson, etc. With Fields, still very accurate with the football. That was super positive for me.
Yeah, I think the arm talent perspective, what you saw in this game, was very encouraging. But there were rookie mistakes. Taking a sack to get you out of field goal range, taking a sack to take you out of that makeable third down towards the end of the game when you're trying to come back in the fourth quarter. Like, those are plays that you just got you can't take those. You can't have those on tape. You can't. That's losing football to make plays like that. And those are things that he'll realize. Like, it didn't come back. Those things didn't come back to bite him at Ohio State because their offense was so unbelievably dominant, because it was such a favorable situation, because he could outrun defensive tackles. Yeah. Now Kenny Clark's chasing him down because the guys in the NFL are fucking athletic too. So I do think that he's going to learn those things, and that is why you get him out there on the football field to learn them.
Bengals-Lions in Detroit. Lions were favored by 3.5. They lose this one 34-11. Let's start with Chris Evans.
Brutal.
Former Michigan guy, makes his trip back to Michigan and has absolutely – we watched this. I think we were watching this together. I don't know. I remember just saying, what the hell, this route? It was absurd. He ends up putting – I think it was Jalen Reeves-Maybin in mud. I think Maybin is still looking for Chris Evans, because it was the worst –
beautiful.
defense of a go route I think I've ever seen. It was that bad.
Yeah, that I've seen worse.
Kevin King? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's up there. It was gorgeous, though. I mean, that's who he was. He was an incredible route runner coming out of Michigan. You go watch the Senior Bowl one-on-ones, and he looked like a wide receiver, and he's 220. Like, that was very impressive for him. He was my guys at the running back position in this class. Chris Evans was 106 in the PFF draft board. Khalil Herbert 91, both showing out this past weekend, getting their opportunities. But yeah, that was a beautiful, get that guy more involved in this, Bengals passing attack, because as much as they love to go empty, when you have Chris Evans, that's like another wide receiver out there. I know Joe Mixon's no slouch himself, but I'll take Chris Evans' route running ability over Joe Mixon's. I think he's just a little bit more polished at this point and a little bit more accomplished. When you go empties, motion him out of the backfield, that's a legit weapon who can win down the football field for you. So I like him getting more touches as the season goes along. Like I said in one of the preseason podcasts.
Chris Evans, that's fantastic. Other side of the ball, I don't know if you saw the quote from Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell said something along the lines of, I just want a little more out of him in regards to Jared Goff. What has been your opinion of Goff so far this year? Has he not met expectations, at least? I mean, what are they expecting from him so far?
I think he's met my expectations. And
they're working with one of the worst receiving corps in the NFL, and it's the an unideal offense.
Yeah, it's the worst receiving corps in the NFL at this point. He's not taking chance down the football field because, there's no chance to be taken. 6.9 average depth of target. You see it on the opposite side of the ball in this game with the Bengals, in Joe Burrow connecting another go ball to Jamar Chase. How much having that guy that you trust, that does win at that level of the football field, makes you look better down the football field. Yeah. I mean, go balls are very much a wide receiver driven proposition. Like, it is, if a guy has 3 to 4 yards of separation on a go ball, you can put it in a big area of the football field and it's going to result in a catch, a PI, something good for the offense. Whereas if you have a guy who is getting stacked by the cornerback, it's going to result in a bad thing for the offense. I don't care how perfectly you place that football, as you saw with that was Jalen Hurts on Thursday Night Football. Throws a really nice go ball. Jamel Dean just suns Quez Watkins to the sideline. That is like I said, go balls are a wide receiver-driven proposition. You're seeing it right now with Sam Howell at North Carolina without De'Ami Brown. So my point of that was that Jared Goff is not the type of quarterback who can overcome that with his accuracy and decision-making at other aspects of the football field.
I also argue it's very chemistry-driven, too. And he obviously doesn't have a ton of that with this receiving core. I think you need guys that could come in, not just create separation, but you also understand the timing of it and that stuff. I brought up Jalen Hurts, second lowest average of the target from a clean pocket. Jared Goff with the lowest so far this year, not pushing the ball downfield, very hesitant to do so. And like you said, rightfully so, your opinion of Joe Burrow lately, a top 3 graded passer from a clean pocket so far this year, on a tear with Jamar Chase in tow. He has been very good to start the season.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, this was the guy, this is what you thought coming out of LSU that you'd see. Obviously, year 1 rookie transition, whatever. But back healthy, confident, knee looks like not an issue whatsoever. The Bengals they're contenders. I mean, Super Bowl contenders. Not Super Bowl contenders. Playoff contenders. Yikes.
AFC
awful.
North contenders.
No, I don't even know about AFC North contenders. Like wild card contenders.
Well, they got the Baltimore Ravens this upcoming week.
This will be
a very good game. I'm excited. I don't know. I mean, I would side with Baltimore. I think they're probably going to be 3.5-point favorites. I could see them as 4-point favorites. But I like Cincinnati to contend with some of these guys. They're definitely a lot better, obviously, than they were a year before. Texans at Colts. I picked Davis the Neck Mills to cover the 9.5, and I look like an idiot. Colts win 31-3. This was by far the best game Carson Wentz has played probably since 2016. Yeah. I mean, this was an unreal performance for him. 94.2 PFF grade in this one. I think the T.Y. Hilton coming back was huge. He's helped a ton. He had a really gorgeous ball to Mo Alley Cox as well in the end zone that was dropped. This was a fantastic performance for Wentz, and so much of it was, in my opinion, he had some time. He had a lot of time in the pocket. They ran the play action shots a ton. That was a special performance for Wentz. And this Carson Wentz can actually, beat up on bad teams like they did against the Texans. And I honestly think can compete with other teams in the AFC.
I'm not going to go that far because it is still the Texans. And it is still Davis Mills that they were going up against.
Okay.
Like, we kind of got lulled into a false sense of security with Davis Mills after he put on a show against Patriots.
It was just fun to root for him.
It was.
That's the problem.
It was. The neck was
You can lose
electric.
a lot of bets betting on the team that's more fun to root for.
That's not a good decider in where to lay your money. But this was a classic Carson Wentz performance. It was basically showed who Carson Wentz is. Not under pressure in this game. Goes 10 of 15 for 217 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 other dropped passes, one of those being a drop pass to Mo Alley Cox in the end zone that he ended up actually scoring, I think, like 2 plays later. And then under pressure, he went 1 of 5 for 6 yards and took 2 sacks. Like, he that is him. When pressure comes, when pockets aren't good, he cannot operate. When things are clean, when he has time, and when his eyes are downfield and he has guys running open, he will hit them. But it's just, you still have to play under pressure 30 snaps in the NFL. And to be throwing those out the window like he kind of has so far this season, you better not face a good pass rush if you're the Indianapolis Colts. Or you better just get that offensive line that they had last year, 2 years ago, which has not been the case so far this season.
I think Brandon Cooks had a phenomenal quote, I think, after the game, talking about just how everyone on the team is just undisciplined. He said, discipline requires player buy-in. They just does not have it in Houston. Not a lot of players, all in. I mean, and it's tough to be. I mean, that's a tough situation to be in. David Culley, I would tell you right now, probably doesn't have buy-in. With the losses that they're taking and obviously the situation that they're in with.
Yeah, I was going to say, with fucking Deshaun Watson on the active roster, not playing every single week, it's difficult to go into every game with any sort of sense of.
And I can't imagine there's a ton of unified leadership. Brandon Cooks is one of the veterans there, one of the leaders there. But Davis, you had Tyrod Taylor, he's hurt. Now you have Davis Mills. A lot of new faces in Houston. We talked about it a ton in the offseason about how much they added. I mean, they added like 30, 40 players. This locker room's entirely changed. I think it's probably difficult to unify that locker room around anything with how much is going on. All right, Rams at Giants. Giants 10-point dogs at home, and Matthew Stafford and company blow them out 38-11. This was easily the worst Daniel Jones we've seen this season. Yeah. And we talked, probably every week about Daniel Jones. It's not the reason they're losing games. This is not the reason they're losing games. He was the reason they lost this one because he did not play well in this one of the lowest graded passers on the week.
Yeah. And obviously losing Kadarius Toney early on, aggravating his ankle, not great. But also Daniel Jones just fumbling again, throwing just picks underneath, which there's no reason to throw picks underneath. If you're going to throw a pick, throw it down the football field at least. And that's kind of been the MO for Daniel Jones throughout his career. It's when he puts together good games, it is at the intermediate, underneath level. He's still, and I got again, it's that symbiotic relationship of having the talent wide receiver, but also the quarterback trusting it. Yeah, I think he has the talent at wide receiver this year. Like, I think when Kadarius Toney's out there, when Kenny Galladay's out there, those guys can get open down the football field, but he still has the fewest deep attempts of any quarterback who has played 6 games in the NFL this season. So, obviously, like, there's some others. Matt Ryan has had fewer, but he's only played 5 games. So, he's only 17 deep attempts all season long, and that's the kind of the opposite of where the NFL is going. You have to generate these explosive plays. We talk about it every single week, that the elite offenses are capable of that. The Giants will not be that until they start doing that, and until they obviously fix the offensive line. But that's kind of like goes hand in hand. It's like you can't have a consistent offense when it's going to be no explosive plays and a below average offensive line.
I want to talk more positives on the Los Angeles Rams side. Cooper Kupp continues to have a stellar career year. He leads the NFL in yards per route run versus press coverage, has been absolutely fantastic with Stafford. Probably the biggest winner of this trade has been just his performance. He's been phenomenal with him. He was the beneficiary of that no-look pass that is kind of surfacing social in the end zone. With Stafford, his grade won't look as good as the box score in this one. He did have that dropped pick. I think he threw it right to 55's hands. Was not perfect by any means in this one. But, man, when he is tacking down the field, he is doing it with so much better results than with Jared Goff. And this downfield passing attack in Los Angeles can actually be really good when you have a quarterback like Stafford that can hit the deep ball.
Yeah, well, I think it just expands kind of the concept, the downfield concepts. It's like that the dig route can be at 20 yards instead of 10, and you can still feel confident about Matt Stafford getting to that. And so I think that's been the biggest difference between Goff and Stafford, is just the depths of which you can attack and feel confident about attacking. And it's not that Matt Stafford's playing super different football than what we've seen from him in his career. It's just that the offense is catered to that, and they have a lot of talent around him to do so.
And that's honestly what a lot of offenses are chasing. At the quarterback position, we want to go further down the field. We want to bring in the big arms.
Talked about it with Daniel Jones.
Exactly. Before we get to Chiefs football team, NFL fans hungry for a big win this week. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PFF. Just bet $5 on any NFL team to win their game. And if they win, $200 in free bets instantly. If they win, you win promo code PFF this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only, $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I have one more point about the Giants, and it goes back to
about the Giants.
Yes. It's gonna be a negative point. Sorry.
Oh, no.
It's not much good to write home about the Giants here, though. I'll just say. But it comes back to what's predictive in the NFL, or what's sustainable year on year. And we talk about how defenses, it's difficult to maintain elite defenses. Not a lot of people can. Giants last year, everyone would have said an up-and-coming defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL last year, top 10 defense. Only add players, only add Adoree Jackson, only add guys to this defense. Where are they? 4th to last in points per game this year. Adoree Jackson's actually played well. Their highest graded corner in terms of coverage grade. You just can't sustain defensive success. It is a difficult thing to hang your hat on unless you are the elite of the elite. There are just not many teams that could do it. That's why we say invest in the offensive side of the ball. But continue.
All right, Chiefs football team, unless you want to drag the Giants one more time.
We'll save that for next week.
All right, saving it for next week. Chiefs football team at home, 7-point dogs, and man, another cover by the favorite, the road favorite. Chiefs win 31-13, even despite what was at times an ugly performance from Patrick Mahomes, but he obviously made up for it in a lot of other ways. I think a lot of people focused in, at least early in that game, on Mahomes, the interceptions. He had that one where it was just like dramatically under pressure and just like lofted it up like a little baby punt to the Washington.
That was maybe the worst
team.
Patrick Mahomes play I've ever seen in my life.
Of his career.
Yeah. His life too. It was just awful. I literally made a noise in my apartment. I was like, what? Because he doesn't do that. Like, he does not make that play. It looked like a play that Nathan Peterman would make, not Patrick Mahomes. But continue.
All right. Chiefs football team, yeah, like I said, 31-13. Mahomes, can we talk about the play that's like you're literally taking over Twitter?
Oh,
he's
yeah,
rolling out. Yeah, he's
body.
rolling out. So what's obviously talked about a ton is like how the hell does he make that throw? Like that is like arm talent on display and a half. But Tyreek Hill also making the decision to because in the scramble drill,
sprint away from you.
In the scramble drill, you have receivers obviously going towards the quarterback to make throws easier to get open, that stuff. Tyreek Hill's like, fuck it. Goes opposite direction. Mahomes like, love to see it, and then hits him in stride. That was like the fact that Hill even thinks to make that decision. It just shows how much confidence the receiving core, the coach staff, everyone has in Mahomes to make the otherworldly play. Because that play is made by one person. One person makes that decision. Well, I guess one receiver makes that move, and it was incredible to see just Hill sprint the opposite direction. Mahomes like, yes, sir. That was another insane part of what was already an insane play from Mahomes.
Yeah, the most insane stat I think I've seen through 6 weeks now. I guess we're not completely through 6 weeks, but this stat: Tyreek Hill leads the NFL, tied for the lead in the NFL in receptions, 46 receptions. He has not had a single contested catch all season long. To find the next closest wide receiver to not have a single contested catch, you have to go down to 31 receptions, Hunter Renfrow. He is leading the NFL and none of his catches have been with anyone on him the whole year. That is how open Tyreek Hill gets.
That is the most absurd stat I've ever heard.
Yeah. So
man, that's a streak that I'm going to have to follow every single week. A lot of that, in my opinion, is obviously Hill, just no one can stick with him. But the other part of it, too, is that they do such a good job with Hill, getting him open, scheming him open, and stuff like that. But still, that is banana land.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. That was wild. For the football team, your take on Taylor Heinicke, the football team experience, this defense. Are you out on the football team?
I'm out. I'm closing the book on this year for the football team. I picked them, I believe, to make the wild card. It's not happening. Heineke's just too inconsistent. He's a backup quarterback. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. When in doubt, he's forcing the ball to Terry McLaurin, and it's like, Terry McLaurin's great, but you need more options there. You need to, operate the offense, and time and time again, it seems like Taylor Heinicke cannot do that. So, with the defense not being, again, we can talk about the Giants, with the defense not taking a step back, not being able to sustain the success they had last year, not being able to live up to the expectations, this is not a playoff team.
This is going to be another team where it's really going to be really interesting to see what they do in the offseason. How do they approach the quarterback position? You have these teams that didn't make a play on quarterback and went with Ryan Fitzpatrick. You saw the Eagles obviously committing to Jalen Hurts, Broncos committing to Teddy B. I think the other team is Panthers committing to Sam Darnold. Now you enter 2022. This draft class with a bad QB room, a bad QB class, or relatively bad to last year. What are they doing? Are they going to run it back with Sam Darnold after this week? Especially after this week, that's the next game we got. Are you going to run it back with Hurts? A lot of teams in this quarterback purgatory or less than what's a step below purgatory? Because purgatory is supposed to be this average thing. This is kind of shitty, hell plus. It's kind of it's really hot. It's like 150, 125 degrees, and you're just kind of fucked.
Hell plus sounds pretty rough. Can we talk about the real story of the game though? Jackson Mahomes dancing on the Sean Taylor sign.
That's not the real story of the game.
That was the real story of the game. The amount of people outraged about that after the game was.
But so I saw
incredible.
Someone mention that,
and I find Jackson Mahomes as insufferable as anyone else. Trust me, I love going and checking his tweets and Brittany Matthews' tweets after their losses because it brings me joy to see them whine as much as they do. But that was nothing. That was a non-story. The people that were getting mad over that, there was an obvious, if you saw the pictures of it, there was an obvious place where they were told to stand.
They were supposed to stand there, and he does
that. If you tell
dance.
Jackson Mahomes to stand somewhere, he's going to make a TikTok there. If
you tell most people his age, TikTok's kind of taken over with those dances. I think that's the thing that I struggle with. Not just Jackson Mahomes specifically, the boomer that is me, 27 years old boomer. I don't understand the rage of the solo dancing. The solo selfies were big when I was why is that a huge thing? I sound like an asshole right now, but I don't really get it. I don't.
I mean, I'm older than you. I don't get it either.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't want to talk about it anymore because I legitimately don't understand. It is a space I do not understand. The only TikToks I follow are the cooking ones. I like the cooking TikToks. Even though I don't even cook. I don't cook. I like the cooking TikToks. All right. We got to stop talking about our TikTok interest. Vikings at Panthers. Panthers 1-point dog at home. They lose to the Minnesota Vikings 34-28. Start with Sam Darnold. Did not look good in this game. Again. Yeah. I think was it fool's gold to start the season? Was it fool's gold? Because this Sam Darnold we saw the last 2 weeks has been bad, really bad.
I will say two things. One, the fourth quarter, the drive to lead him back was sick. That was good Sam Darnold. That's the guy you hope to see more of. He also had 8 drops from his receivers.
Fair.
But he also went 17 of 41. Like 25 of 41 is not looking that much better than 17 of 41. I mean, it is better, but it's still not good. So those 2 caveats. But man, it wasn't just mistakes with the football. This was the Sam Darnold experience that you saw in New York. And now the 3-game stretch he had to start the year is better than any Sam Darnold we ever saw in New York. But also, you can't win, or this isn't a guy that can go in the tank like this back-to-back weeks. You're not going to win with him. That's not a guy you can win Super Bowls with if that's going to be the case.
If that's your goal.
Yes. So that is, I think what we're seeing is, I guess, not too surprising. The surprising part was that they ever thought that he was worth a second and a fourth.
And the overall commitment, knowing that this quarterback class was good. You could have gone with, Justin Fields and Mac Jones, et cetera. Over the last 2 weeks, the 4 lowest graded quarterbacks in the NFL, Taylor Heineke, Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, and Daniel Jones. All significant question marks around what they're going to do at the future of that position. Will be interesting to follow.
I will say this about the Vikings. Christian Darrisaw looked good. First start at left tackle. Very difficult sort of first start to go up against when it's Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns, 2 edge guys that ran 4.5s coming out. That is not easy for your first game when I'm not sure Darrisaw saw a single, probably didn't see a single guy that's athletic in his entire college career. That's your first taste of the NFL. 1 pressure all game long. Yeah, it was on in the 2-minute drill at the end. Should have been a sack, but pretty ugly. But it was against Brian Burns. That will happen. I thought he looked very good for most of the game in pass protection. Cleared out a hole on C.J. Ham's big run in that game. I was impressed for a first start for a rookie against that matchup with what Darrisaw did. That's massive for this Vikings team because we said what Kirk Cousins is doing behind that offensive line is nothing short of impressive. That offensive line is one of the worst in the NFL, or was one of the worst in the NFL when Rashad Hill was out there left tackle. If Darrisaw can be this guy, what we saw in this game the rest of the season, big upgrade.
Even average to above average. We talk about positional value.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't like elite, but this was average tackle.
It's what you need. It's what you need. Like if you can bring him in and you have a rookie on a rookie contract, an offensive tackle, the second highest paid position in the NFL, play at this level, that's huge, massive. And if he develops, obviously, like a Colton Miller-like curve where that second, third year you start to really see him, be top 10, top 15 at the position, that's massive for the Minnesota Vikings.
And this is looking, it's one game. I guess I'll hold off on any sort of takes on that Jets-Vikings trade just yet.
Yeah, hold off. Let's get to Ravens-Chargers. Wow. Chargers were favored by 3 at home, and they win big, 34-6 over the Los Angeles Chargers. Ravens
were favored by 3.
Ravens were favored by 3 at home, win big, 34-6. I want to start with Justin Herbert. I think a lot of people expected him to keep things close. In this one, I don't think he played terribly at all. This is not like, we told you so, Herbert sucks. It's more, this one, one of the first times that he saw a really high percentage of man coverage. He saw probably the highest percentage of tight windows he's seen all season because of that man coverage play. And there was some erratic ball placement even on some of the easy throws from Herbert in this one. Got under pressure a decent amount. I still feel like, though, when he did have receivers open and he was in rhythm, was hitting them in stride, I thought he played well. Not well enough, though, to compete against what was a very good performance from Lamar Jackson, the Ravens offense.
Yeah, I think you saw some accuracy issues. Like this was probably his most erratic performance in terms of just ball placement, a number of throws that could have been there that kind of just were off. And then Marlon Humphrey ate Mike Williams' lunch, man. Like that guy was any money down, he could not go Mike Williams' way. So hats off to Marlon Humphrey. That's why you pay him what you pay him. Only 2 of 6 targets on the day for 19 yards. That was a lockdown sort of CB1 type of performance. And Ravens, man, they look back to 2019 Ravens after kind of like both sides of the ball seemingly took a step back last year. This team looks tough right now. And Rashad Bateman, now we only got a taste of him. He had a little drop, but that hitch route that he kind of like sauced him afterwards, gorgeous to watch. And he's just going to add that element to the offense. Just another guy you can trust. Excited to see it. And I will say Lamar Jackson wasn't too great shakes on the other side either, but they ran for 187 yards at 4.8 yards per clip on the ground. That's what, with, shit all at running back. That's what Lamar Jackson brings to the table. And you're going to consistently be able to rely on that. That's why they are a high floor offense.
I think a big reason why Lamar Jackson's grade was pretty bad in this one, I think it was like low 60s. He had that pick over the middle. What was that?
Oh, yeah,
he was like, he didn't even see the guy. Didn't even see the
linebacker.
It was
definitely just didn't see him come from the backside.
Yeah, didn't see him. But, this was an impressive. I think This Lamar Jackson-led Baltimore Ravens team can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the AFC, as evidenced by this blowout win over the Chargers at home. And I think it's because of Lamar Jackson in a lot of ways. I think he should be more in the MVP conversation than he is. The 4 favorites to win MVP right now, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady. He's not even in the top 5 of that conversation. So I'm interested to see, as the Ravens continue to move forward, if Lamar Jackson starts to enter that repeat conversation. Cardinals-Browns. Browns favored by 3. Yikes. This was the Baker Mayfield that no one wanted to see. This is the one that has Colin Cowherd sprinting to the podium, ready to call Baker Mayfield forever for lack of a piece of shit. Like, he's just like, this is the worst Baker. That's what Cowherd can't wait for these games because it came. This game was awful. Did not play well.
I don't think he's talked about anything
terrible.
else today, Cowherd, on his show. It was just Baker Mayfield for 3 hours.
The fumbles were terrible, in my opinion. Yeah. That was I think those are some of the worst plays. Like, he was trying to make something out of not necessarily nothing, but 2 times he fumbled the ball. One of them he got hurt. He hurt his shoulder and ended up coming back from. This is bad Baker, and bad Baker, you lose to the Cardinals at home 37-14.
Yeah, Baker just should stop scrambling. I don't think he's ever made a nice play out. I mean, he's made some nice plays, but that is not his game. He thinks though that he has a higher opinion of his own athleticism than NFL defenders who are chasing.
I mean, overall ability, I would say.
And it's just he should be not passing up maybe some contested throws to try to make a play on his own. He should be throwing that contested throw and just taking that chance because, and especially when you have a torn labrum in your left shoulder that he re-aggravated in this game. So that was tough. We did get a little taste of my Odell theory after he went out in the second quarter, and then Baker hits the Hail Mary. He doesn't hit that Hail Mary if Odell's on the football field. I'm just saying it. He doesn't hit that Hail Mary if Odell's on the football field. I think we all can agree on that. But the Browns offense without their 2 offensive tackles, it's just not going to be good. I mean, not a lot of teams can survive that, but especially with Baker and how he performs under pressure, just how he reacts, it's not going to be one of them.
Talk to me about the guy who caught that Hail Mary. Donovan Peoples-Jones actually looks good. He has played a lot better than I think we originally expected. Donovan Peoples-Jones kind of shown out.
I'm not sure he has 13 catches this year? He has 9 of them. He has the highest percentage of contested catches of any receiver in
That's his game, though. That's his game.
Well, and he also is a starter who only has 13 catches through 6 weeks. And one of them is a Hail Mary. But he is 9 of 9 in contested situations, which is an insane start to the season for him. So hats off to that. But I'm still that there's a reason that offense looks bad without Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham on the football fields because he's not that guy. But I will say, other side of the football, Kyler Murray, I'm officially changing. He's now my MVP through 6 weeks. Justin Herbert was after last week. Justin Herbert plays poor this week. Kyler Murray balls out.
It's a week-to-week league.
It's a week-to-week league. And when you're so early on, what am I going to do? Dig my heels in and say, no, it's still Justin Herbert? No, it's Kyler Murray. This was a dominant performance from him, even though it took one of the worst roughing the pass calls I've ever seen in my life from Malik Jackson.
He didn't even – so I'm glad you brought that up. So Malik Jackson, the Cleveland Browns defensive tackle, gets called for a roughing the passer. He doesn't hit Kyler Murray's helmet, and Kyler Murray doesn't go to the ground. And still – I've never seen that before. Usually it's one of the two or both. I don't know how that was roughing. It wasn't even that late. That was a rough call.
That was one of the worst. But I will say, this Cardinals offense, it feels different this year. And I think one of the biggest stats for that is that they're just, last year, seemingly the screens and the RPOs they ran it was a super stale sort of how they were incorporated into the offense. They've already gained, so last year they gained 263 yards on 75 screens all year long. They've already gained 250 yards on screens, 36 screens so far this year. They've already gained almost as many yards on RPOs as they did all of last year. That is there's just a different element that they're not kind of throwing screens as afterthoughts. It actually looks like they're incorporated into this offense. And obviously Kyler Murray is playing exceptionally well, creating a lot on his own. But I do think just schematically, it feels like they're dialing up things at the right time compared to last year where it was just he would get stuck throwing hitches 10 times a game, and it was just no sort of cohesiveness to that Cardinals offense.
Last thing I'll add on the Cardinals, Zaven Collins, I think he only played 16 snaps in this one, but graded really well, was really impressive. And I still find it crazy just how big and monstrous he looks on an NFL field. Because at Tulsa, it looked comedic. He didn't even look – he looked like they were playing men against boys. But even in the NFL, in the limited snaps he played, looked really, really good. Flows the ball really well. Laid a big hit on a handful of underneath passes. I think Zaven Collins getting slowed into the NFL, slowly played in the NFL, but I think he's some positives in this one. Raiders-Broncos. Broncos favored by 4, and I think the trend continues that teams, after firing their coach, are, I think, 5-0 against the spread and 5-0 outright. Like, they've won every game. So Raiders.
Okay, wait. They didn't fire John Gruden. He resigned.
Oh, sorry. Raiders.
Big difference.
Raiders still win 34-24. Derek Carr, man, continues to unleash the deep ball. He has been so much more aggressive than he has been in previous years. I mean, this is the most aggressive we've seen since the Crabtree-Cooper era in 2016. Yeah. This year, leads the NFL in deep passing yards, has the 3rd highest average depth to target, and had 5 big-time throws in this one, including, everyone wants to bring up the Ruggs stuff. That pearl to Kenyon Drake down the left sideline on the out and up was absolutely gorgeous. And in the 2-minute drill, oh my goodness, Derek Carr has been phenomenal. Yeah,
I'm not going to disagree with you there. He's like the reason they are winning games. And I wrote that article about how the personnel surrounding him, like they kind of have this Chiefs-esque personnel there where they have the shot guy. You have the reliable guy at the intermediate level in Darren Waller.
And Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, Hunter Renfrow. You got a running back that can catch. Like, you got the personnel there to do it. But I will say, the one thing that always cracks me up about Derek Carr is when he throws those like lollipop balls down the football field. You know what I'm talking about?
The one to Darren Waller. That one, yeah.
Or he just kind of like, it's like shoots like straight up. Those ones, I feel like no one else
does. It's a really catchable ball.
Throws them quite like Russell Wilson will throw like a deep ball that has like a obviously increased, like intentionally increased arc. But like Derek Carr feels like he's almost like leaning back on a lob wedge and trying to like really flip one up there, trying to hit a flop shot to like his tight end. Those are ones that are always great.
I don't golf. I don't know what a flop shot is, but I did laugh at just how high that Darren Waller throw was. It was just like a looper, and it was on he was crossing the field too. I thought it gave the cornerback enough chance to maybe get in there too, which was interesting. The other thing I had on the Raiders side, I want to talk Broncos too, but Brandon Parker, Andre James, and Alex Leatherwood, sub 60.0 PFF grades. It's still going to be difficult to – I mean, there's a reason why they kind of started slow. Like, the offensive line is still such a big concern for the Raiders, and that's affected them mostly probably in the run game. Like, they're really struggling to get Josh Jacobs to average more than 4 yards per carry because of how much he's hitting, getting in the backfield and stuff like that. You wanted to bring up, though, Max Crosby.
I did because, again, he did it again. 10 pressures in this game?
I think charted with like 3 sacks. A lot of them were kind of like pursuit sacks, but still. Up
to 43 pressures on the season, 8 more than anyone else in the NFL. And again, it's been one of the easier matchups for the string of tackles he's gone against. Not great, but you still got to beat up on the bad ones too. And he even had pressure against Garrett Bowles in this game, who is obviously the better of the two. Broncos tackles there and a pretty damn good. He just got paid himself this offseason, but I said it. I wish I could go back and find the soundbite, but halfway through his rookie year, I'm like, I'd rather have Max Crosby right now than Cleveland Farrell. Because he was very athletic. Call him the white Brian Burns coming out of Eastern Michigan. Because we were on the podcast with me when I said it. Or maybe you weren't, actually. That would have been before your time. Might have been before the 2-for-1 drafts time. But he was that caliber of athlete. Like, his testing-wise, go back and look, was off the charts. And he has turned his body around as well. So I think it speaks to the development. And that guy looks like he's added about 15 to 20 pounds since he was at Eastern Michigan when he was this stick, 6'5", rushing the passer there, had no power to his game. He's bull rushing guys left and right now. He looks like the real deal. And yeah, he's not going to be 10 pressures every game. He's not going to be this dominant. It's going to slow down at some point when he faces some legit tackles. But again, you don't always face legit tackles. You might get to a playoff game and face some guy who stinks, and then he's going to be taken over because that's the type of defensive end he looks like right now.
And Crosby graded super well for Eastern Michigan. He's always had this array of pass rush moves. He's always been successful as a pass rusher. The issue has been and was when he was drafted that he didn't have the size, the strength to go bully some guys. And I went back because I saw you tweet out the picture of him now, first him at Eastern Michigan, and it reminded me of when Mike Mayock called him and he was being drafted. He said the number one thing. He said, I need you to add some fucking weight. Like, I need you to add weight. I need you to get in the weight room.
He said fucking weight.
He didn't say fucking weight. But I need you to get in the weight room and add strength and add mass because that's the biggest area you need to improve. And that has been full for him. I think he's added 20, 25 pounds since getting to Las Vegas, and that has completely changed him. I mean, it's completely changed him, and now he's legit edge defender in the NFL. Any comments on the Broncos side? We spent so much on Raiders.
Yeah, I think Vic Fangio's probably gone.
No, really?
I do. I just think it's going to happen. And I'm not sure it's his fault, but I don't foresee it getting that much better. Teddy's Teddy. He's not the guy that's going to take you over that hump, and it's a very good roster. But he's limited, and he looked the part in this game. And in the NFL nowadays, going back to the Stafford conversation, going back to the theme of this season, limited passers, it's not what's winning. And I just don't foresee the Broncos competing in this division when you have Herbert, Carr, Mahomes, all attacking down the football field the way they do.
Yeah.
You're a distant fourth at the quarterback position there.
Before we get to Cowboys-Patriots, Western Southern, proud sponsor of Tailgate. Whether it's football success or financial savvy, the right questions help set the stage for the winning strategies. Western Southern is teaming up with PFF's very own Chris Collinsworth, the boss, the big man, to share insights that can help put you ahead on both your fantasy and financial scoreboards. Want to hear about Chris's old playing days or behind the scenes with Al on Sunday Night Football? How about a need to know for your financial future? Now you can ask about either or both. Every football or financial question you ask earns you a chance to win a catered party for February's big game. Check out Chris Collinsworth's podcast and Western Southern's Instagram for answers to the best questions each week. Submit your questions at westernsouthern.com/askchris. One more time, that is westernsouthern.com/askchris. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the link in the description below. Remember, with Western Southern, you can rest assured on game day. Cowboys, Patriots favored, 3.5-point dogs at home. They lose in overtime. Cowboys win 35-29. I want to talk about the Cowboys, but can we please start with Mac Jones? This was such a good week for Mac Jones. He threw with anticipation. He was accurate with the football, did not throw this game away in any means. And I thought you saw from Mac Jones in this game how he can win in the NFL. If he throws and has that chemistry with his receivers and is that comfortable from clean pockets, he can win, regardless of the arm talent, because that was obviously the big caveat with Mac Jones's prospects. I think he was phenomenal, and if he can put out this kind of performance week in, week out, I know they didn't win this game, that's winning football. Enough for winning football for New England.
Yeah, 92.7 passing grade. Like, he was excellent. I think Tony Romo highlighted on the broadcast. He's like, he's missed 2 plays all game, and he really had. And he made some throws under pressure. My God, he went 5 of 6.
The Myers one in OT was hot.
5 of 6 under pressure, 63 yards, and 93.1 grade under pressure. Like, he was staring down free rushers and taking shots, but still delivering. No sort of hesitation, whatever. No crumbling into a ball in the pocket. He was ready to. That was their NFL throws that he was making. And now, the last throw to the big throw to Kendrick Bourne, the touchdown, was more bad defense in my opinion than good offense. I'm not sure that was necessarily. It's the one you have to make, but it wasn't like gorgeous football. It was kind of just like DeMonte Casey blew the shit out of that coverage. He should have been right there at the catch point. It was a terrible angle he took to that football, but he really wasn't making bad decisions with football and was not, like I said, the only real misses were that pick and then the throw before that in the screen.
I think Trayvon Diggs, now 7 interceptions in 7 games, or like 8, something along those lines. It's been insane. Also had a pick 6 in this one. I think for that one specifically, I think it was not great ball placement, and you saw it come off of Kendrick Bourne's hands, or whoever that was, and Trayvon Diggs take that one. But he has been phenomenal.
It hit a receiver's hands. It wasn't a disaster of a throw.
No, it wasn't a disaster of a throw. He's got, I think, the same odds as Myles Garrett to win Defensive Player of the Year now with all these picks. I mean, he's on that box score tear right now. Yeah. More touchdowns than Stephon Diggs so far this year. Randy Gregory was another one I wanted to bring up. Man, that one play, I don't know who the right tackle was. Yannick Azeez, former West Virginia offensive tackle, absolutely torched. And Mac Jones took probably one of the biggest hits of the weekend. I mean, that was a death blow. Randy Gregory has been phenomenal this year too.
Fifth highest pass rushing grade in the NFL. He's about to get paid. This was the guy that everyone thought on Nebraska. The talent was there. Obviously, the drug issues is why he falls, why he's been in and out of the lineup in the NFL. But this was the talent. This was what everyone always saw. This was always there waiting. And Isaiah Wynn got hurt early on this game, left tackle for the Patriots. But again, beating up backups, not everyone does it. So hats off to him. Fantastic performance. I also wanted to highlight the fact that the Cowboys wanted to throw this game. Like, that was they should have dominated that game. Offensively, they had almost whatever they wanted, but 115 yards of penalties on 12 penalties, holds seemingly left and right. The 4th down fumble at the goal line.
That was absurd.
I mean,
great play by Bentley, though.
Great play by Bentley. Hats off, whatever. But that, my God, like I texted my brother. My brother texted me before the game. He had this parlay with the last one to hit was the Cowboys. He's like, should I cash out before the Cowboys game? I'm like, no, there's no way the Cowboys win. He just had money line. I'm like, there's no way the Cowboys don't win. And then I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, did I just tell my brother to like cash out? It was a big parlay too. It was like 10 to win 90 or something. It was already hit like 5 or 6 lines before that. And I'm like, this would have been an awful bad beat because the Cowboys were quite easily the better team in that game.
How about Dak Prescott in this one? I think Dak Prescott right now, like I said, is top 3 in MVP odds, turned in an 80-plus PFF grade, looked really, really good again, and he and CeeDee Lamb are on a tear so far this year. I mean, even that he had a handful of throws, too, to Cedric Wilson, former Boise State receiver that looked good in this one, too.
The Cowboys offense right now, and I saw Jeff Kavanaugh tweet this right before one of the radio guys down in Dallas, so I cannot verify these numbers, but the on-pace numbers for the Cowboys offense right now, Dak Prescott's on pace for 5,335 passing yards. CeeDee Lamb's on pace for 1,408 receiving yards. Amari Cooper, 1,057. Dalton Schultz, the tight end, 1,017. Ezekiel Elliott, 1,476 rushing yards. And Tony Pollard, 1,037 rushing yards. That is a
they're blazing starts.
That is, like I've said it, I think on the Thursday pod, I'm like, they have an answer to whatever you want. They can beat you at every single position on that offense, and that's a scary proposition.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I said this after week 1, and when they lost Tampa Bay, as long as Dak Prescott's healthy, this is a top 5 offense, borderline top 3. This is how good they've been. They're going to be on a tear as long as he's healthy. He's been phenomenal. Seahawks at Steelers. Steelers, 5-point dogs at home, or 5-point favorites at home. Sorry, 5-point favorites at home, and they almost lose this game. Steelers on Sunday night end up winning 23-20. Despite Geno Smith like doing nearly everything to lose it. No, he played well, but it was just such an ugly offense.
Play well. I mean,
he played okay. He didn't
play better than probably expected. But
my take is that the way the offense was going, like this was one of the hardest offenses to watch. They're down their first 2 running backs. It was ugly. It was ugly. Alex Collins is like outperforming everyone on the Seattle Seahawks side, and Geno Smith so conservative, 4.1 average depth to target, the lowest of any quarterback in Week 6. Offense was putrid, but not putrid, and putrid enough to lose the game.
Yeah, there were 3 completions in this game targeted 15 yards down the field or more. It was not great football. And you know that I think today, or not today, I guess that was Sunday, you know that Big Ben is washed when he can't pull off his patented pump fake anymore. That's when it's time to hang it up. When he goes the pump fake and fumbles. Like that he is the king of the extended pump fake. And when he fumbles it,
it's over.
That's how you know. I think that was the sign we needed to know that, sorry, Big Ben, I think this isn't not that it's a sign. We knew that before that, but that was it.
Trey Norwood in this one also performed well. Your guy.
Trey Brown, you mean? Or which one?
Norwood
and Brown.
Norwood had 92.9 PFF grade in this one for Pittsburgh. He looked
Trey
phenomenal.
Brown started because the Seahawks, so Trey Brown, former Oklahoma quarterback, started for the Seahawks because they just cut Trey Flowers. After 3 years of starting from there, it's like, we're time for a change. That's how bad the Seahawks cornerback
3 different Treys
going
in this conversation. I'm excited.
A lot of Treys. But Trey Brown, 2 of 5 targets for 9 yards in this game. Had that big hit. I believe that was in OT on Ray McCloud. Good game for the rookie. First start of his career.
Well, the Trey I was trying to bring up, Pittsburgh Steelers Trey Norwood, the strong safety out of Oklahoma, 7th-round pick, 92.9 PFF grade in this one, allowed just 3 yards receiving, had 2 defensive stops and multiple pass breakups too. He was pretty damn good for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the defensive side of the ball. Any other takeaways for Pittsburgh? 23-20 over a Geno Smith-led Seahawks team. I'm not jumping back on the bandwagon anytime soon.
Yeah. My other takeaway was the Jamal Adams best in the nation thing. I thought was very obnoxious at the moment it happened. But it turns out it was like a reference to some viral video of a guy who just got shot last week. So if you made fun of him, you're an asshole.
Yeah. I think a lot of people misjudged that one.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. I know you hate when I bring this up. Do you want to review or preview Bills-Titans one last time?
Nope.
You don't? I'm going to skip it. Right. Skip it. If you didn't listen to Thursday's show, you're not getting our takes.
No, I will say. This game's going to be good. I mean, it's a good game. I have no takes on like win or loser outside of what I said last Thursday, but after what we saw last night, an actual meaningful football game could be nice.
Ryan Tannehill is the highest graded passer in the NFL from a clean pocket. He has been, people have been kind of banging the table for regression from Tannehill ever since that first year in Tennessee, and it's just not coming. I don't think it's coming, sir. I don't think it's coming. All right. before we get to the fun to read segment, fun to watch, rookie of the week, blackout of the week, have to bring up one of the more notable sponsors of this pod, Manscaped. It's football season, baby, and you know what that means. It means we're going for 2 here with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. Blitzing through hairs has never been easier, and it's time for you to join 2 million men worldwide, including myself, Mike Renner, Stone Rochelle, everyone, by using promo code PFF at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. It's 3 and out the window with all your other trimmers. Now go tame that Wildcat offense. We went to Baton Rouge this weekend, and you know what I brought? The Lawnmower 4.0. I was clean the entire weekend. Clean, bare, all that. Had to do it. Had to do it for Baton Rouge. Had to do it. You need to do it too. The brand new Lawnmower 4.0 is here to take your defense to the next level. The 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multifunction on-off switch, can engage a travel lock, and gives you an ability to turn the 4,000 LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Did I mention this trimmer is waterproof too? Rain, snow, sleet are no match for the waterproof power of the 4.0. There's no 15-yard penalty for this clipping. They need to update that. They don't have clipping in the NFL. They call it blocking the back. I don't think I've heard clipping in years. Anyway, get 20% off and free shipping with code PFF at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use promo code PFF. The best line of the read, stiff arm your pubes out the playoffs this year with Manscaped. All right.
Wait, what did you say about clipping? I wasn't really paying attention, but they're still clipping.
I know they're still clipping. Do you ever hear them say clipping?
Oh, it doesn't happen much. It's a very rare penalty as is.
Fair. All right. Is clipping not blocking the back?
It's when you go low from the behind.
Oh. But that's a penalty? All right, fun to read. Let's go to our first one here. I love the fun to read segments. The fun to read segments literally make my year. First one comes from MC Trent 23. This one he's a weekend sports talker for WBRZ.
It's not really him. It's not really him. Just read the tweet.
Okay, with regards to Oregon's personal life, Orgeron's personal life bleeding into his coaching life, sources also tell WBRZ that there were multiple practices where girlfriends would be in attendance at practice and would interfere to the degree of the women taking part in the drills with the team. What? That's not true.
Orgeron? What?
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's right.
What? This guy, I can't believe this. This thing is a real tweet.
And then the other one, the other story about Ed Orgeron from him getting fired was Ed Orgeron pulled up to a woman at a gas station wearing exercise attire and said, "Hey, you look like you work out. We could work out together." The woman informed Orgeron she was married and pregnant, to which he responded, "Why does that matter?"
No way. Why are we airing out Orgeron's dirty closet here? This is rough.
I mean, I was floored by the fact that he was getting fired, and then I read these, and I'm like, oh, this makes a lot more sense. To why he would get it. Coach O just won the national championship and went directly to his head that he was the king of Louisiana.
He is the king of Louisiana.
Which he is.
That's
but it
incredible.
also went to his head.
Man, the Orgeron just getting bodied. We have some more fun
Urban
reads
Meyer
here.
Or Ed Orgeron, who's been hornier this season?
I don't know. All right, this is from Sharon Williams, NFL Sharon. La'el Collins should look up Wally Pipp. Terrence Steele shouldn't be in interim. He won the job in Collins' absence. Ooh, you can't honestly think Terrence Steele. Are you serious? Who is this?
That was a take. That one I saw, I'm like, oh. Like La'el Collins is making, I believe, $15 million a year to play tackle in the NFL. Even that alone is like, you're not going to bench the guy for someone in year 2. But the fact that La'el Collins is good, probably a top 5 right tackle in the NFL, and his lowest graded season in the last 4 years is still higher than what Terrence Steele's grade is right now. So, and that was 4 years ago, 2017.
Is that Terrence Steele's mom? I don't get it. Last one here for fun to read. This is from Laverne Spicer. I think I saw multiple people tweet this takeout.
Yeah.
They let Magic Johnson play basketball with full-blown HIV, but won't let Kyrie Irving play because he won't get a COVID shot.
Yeah, that was not really football related, but that one just got me good. That
is ridiculous. I don't want to talk about it any more than that. That's fun to read. That is fun to read. All right. Jared Payton. This is the fun to watch. This dude, Justin Fields, is so much fun to watch. #Bears.
I think that's a repeat for Justin Fields.
That's
insane. Because Joe Burrow said
942 likes.
Joe Burrow said he was fun to watch also.
So he's on the fun to watch list.
Also, shout out to Jared Payton. He actually had he used to be a rapper. And he had a really good song back in when I was in high school that I really liked. It's called Nick Cannon's. Go look it up.
I might not. There is no offense in the NFL less fun to watch than the Broncos. Wow.
From Marcus
non-fun to
Mosher.
watch. Wow, from Marcus Mosher.
Broncos offense. I added to Kirk Cousins on the not fun to watch list.
Broncos offense. All right, last one from you. Oh, that's right. This guy is sick, though.
Yeah.
And when you texted me, you said, watch Jason Poe. I'm like, all right, I jump in. And all of his, positively graded plays, they run a shitload of pulling guard play. And then all of his positive plays is this dude is 6 foot, 300.
So,
go ahead.
Jason Poe, Mercer guard, transfer from Lenoir Rhine this year. He is 6 foot, 315, and reportedly runs in the 3.7s. Or 3.7s. Has run in the 4.7s. Has a 1.62 10 split at that size. He's you watch him on tape. I was like, 1.62 10 split. He's flying. The guy is flying, taking out linebackers left and right. Watching him pull is a thing of beauty. I think they designed that offense purely around
They might have. They
and his ability to pull, because that guy is truly impressive. Now, they don't pass protect much. They do a lot of full slides. Whatever is going to be a work in progress in that regard, and he is short. He is 6 foot tall, but he's fun to watch.
Dude, go to this tweet. If you don't follow PFF Mike on Twitter, just look for it, because this Jason Poe tweet, just watch this kid pull around. And you watch
the plays I tweet are all against Alabama, too.
Yeah.
He's pancaking dudes on Alabama. It truly is an impressive watching this guy.
I was going through his tape, and it was I didn't see a pull play for the first 2 or 3, and then there's this one, and this dude's just on his horse. He is flying out of his stance. He is hashtag fun to watch. I'm glad that you tweeted it.
I also wanted to bring up the fact that when I do search fun to watch, in the week prepping for this, I get a zillion K-pop videos.
I think you could search anything and get a zillion K-pop videos.
Maybe that's
it's
just
an SEO thing.
Yeah.
I get a ton, too.
But they are fun to watch when you do one.
All right. Your awards this week. Start with Rookie of the Week.
Rookie of the Week. We're going to share it. Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence played excellent football. I didn't even bring up that throw Trevor Lawrence had before the half, the touchdown. Gorgeous. Mac Jones, obviously, we talked about, very efficient, exceedingly accurate, playing under pressure, not great offensive line, not great wide receivers. He overcame that against a good Cowboys team. They didn't ask him to drop back much. 23 dropbacks in that game. They could have asked a little bit more of them, but those two guys did not look like rookies this week, and they earn a Rookie of the Week.
I like it. I think Mac Jones graded better, but Trevor Lawrence, again, puts the special throws on tape. Blackout of the week for you.
Blackout of the week, and I hate to do it because I like this guy coming out, and I still believe. But Azeez Ojulari has now gone 40 pass rushing snaps over the last 2 games without a pressure.
Thanks.
He has 10 pressures this year in 6 games. That's not ideal. It's just tough as an undersized edge defender translating to the NFL. When you're 240 pounds, and you're just not going to be able to win with power. You got to be perfect at that point. And so far, not quite been that guy. So in this past week against the Rams,
I will say that's another position too, though. I mean, both offensive line and defensive line take some time, man. It takes some time to develop. Yeah. I think don't write anything off on Azeez Ojulari. This isn't bust watch. This is blackout the week for the Giants edge defender. Cake your pants moment of the weekend.
I had 2.
Whoa, that's a lot for you.
Had to do some laundry. Calling Baton Rouge in Tiger Stadium is electric. And now it wasn't a full Tiger Stadium, sadly. It was not. It was an 11 a.m. game.
It was empty.
But hearing Colin Baton Rouge there and the entire crowd singing it was awesome. It's one of my favorite country songs.
I looked into the crowd, and it was pregame. We were allowed on the field pregame, and I was looking at this 45-plus-year-old woman, and she was screaming it at the top of her lungs with her eyes closed. And I was like, I'm home. This is where I want to be. I want to be here. It was insane. And it was a half-empty stadium, and everyone's just losing their goddamn mind calling Baton Rouge. It's a great song. You should look it up.
Garth Brooks. Never heard it. Go check it out. And then the other one was Aaron Rodgers getting up saying, I still own you. It was just you don't get – that doesn't happen.
No.
You don't have a franchise quarterback getting up screaming directly at fans saying that he owns them.
I've owned you my whole fucking life. That was
incredible. Owned them his whole fucking life. It was. I immediately texted my whole family. I'm like, I got chills.
That group chat was it the Packers shareholders?
Packers shareholders group chat. I got chills.
All right, highlights of the tailgate to close out here. I loved calling Baton Rouge. Obviously, I got to cook some pasta laya. This guy had this iron wok.
Oh,
or it was just. Okay. It was insane. So we go up to this tailgate. We're like, hey, can we tailgate with you and put our beers in your cooler? We brought like 60 beers. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And he's cooking this fire. And he puts the chicken in this big black wok. And he's like, you got to burn the chicken. He's got a Cajun accent I can't really do. But he was like, and he goes through this like a 2.5 hour process. We come out of the game. It wasn't done before we went in. And it was honestly the best tailgate food I've ever had in my life. Borderline, top 10, top 15 dinner I've had in my life. It was, and I was already full from going a little bit too hard in the press box food, but it was phenomenal. This pastelaia, and I don't think you can get the recipe. So much of it is just him just grinding the tape out there. And I got to cook a little bit. It was a fun time.
It was. I'm trying to think of other highlights for me. Just Baton Rouge in general.
The gator.
Okay, that was the other highlight. They were cooking a gator on a spit at the bar we went to after the game, called Revelry, and just had a gator spinning in the middle of this bar.
It was sweet.
It was cool. And so
that bar we were
gator
at
was delicious also, by the way. But
gator was good.
Yeah, so that was Baton Rouge is a very good time. I will say I'm not going to give it a grade though. I can't give it a grade.
You can't.
It did not have enough snaps to qualify. Because it was an 11 a.m. game, no one came out.
There's no one there.
They were on their deathbed. Everyone's saying Orgeron's gone after this. Everyone's in Baton Rouge knew that he was going to be fired. They thought he was going to be actually fired after this, but they obviously just came out and announced that he's gone at the end of the season. And so the vibes were at an all-time low. We go to, it was called the Parade Grounds, where everyone said you got to go tailgate there. They have probably, there's more garbage cans set up than people actually tailgating
at the
Parade
disaster.
Grounds because just LSU fans were down bad. And I don't blame them. But I'm not going to give it a tailgate grade because of that.
I think for, maybe it's next year, maybe it's a year from now, we got to put LSU back on the list because that was just not a good showing. It was just not a good showing. The bars after were a good time. The bar we were at, every time LSU scored, they give free shots out. The shots were like borderline lemonade, but it was still a fun atmosphere for sure. I think the post-game atmosphere was obviously better than the missing tailgaters. But another good week for tailgate this upcoming week. Tuscaloosa. Tailgate heads to Tuscaloosa, Tennessee at Alabama, 7 p.m. kick. Should be an absolute treat. If you're out there in Alabama, make sure to reach out. We're going to be throwing it down. Should be a good time. Maybe we'll get some gator. Who knows? We're going to be out there in Tuscaloosa. Until next time, producer Stone Rochelle, David Safaro, Mike Quinn in spirit, Austin Gayle, Mike Renner. Tailgate. Sorry, tailgate. That's it for the show. Thanks, guys.